And we're live. There we go.
We are. Yes, we
Yet
are.
again. That's right. We have gone live, and it's another episode of Tuesday Night Dreaming.
It is.
So this is exciting. And yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And my dad is still in California, so the saga is ongoing. And I am still in Canada. There's no saga there. It's just the life of Josh.
But you're going to be soggy pretty soon. I heard that.
So yeah, we we are going to be soggy pretty soon. That's very true. Yeah. So wonderful to see people jumping on. As you're jumping on, welcome to another Tuesday Night Dreaming. Hello, Sarah. Um, hey, everybody. Give a comment, and especially if you're new around here, let us know where you're tuning in from. Thanks, Sarah. Sarah says great show, Josh. Today she's referencing the live show that we started. I started with the guys from the Remnant Radio. For anybody that knows who the Remnant Radio is, they're a fantastic YouTube show / podcast you can find on podcasting platforms. But we launched a show today in tandem with them, myself and a couple others, called Back to the Fathers, going back and exploring issues pertaining to theology and spirituality and how we practice things, and looking at the early church and how that informs our practice today. So anyway, thanks, Sarah, and that was a lot of fun. So I saw some of your you commented, I think, saying you were going to watch it later or something like that. So I was able to see the comments. It was an exciting one. So if you can take a second as you're jumping on and share the video, that would be wonderful.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what my dad's doing. So Renee really wants me to do the Seinfeld hello back to her. So because she's put it up there twice already. I don't know. I kind of feel like just withholding this time just to make her anxious. So wonderful, Berta.
I have some questions about that.
Yeah. Hello. Howdy do. There, that works. Renee, you can get your shout out. Hello, Renee. Welcome to the show. You're a very important and special person. Oh, wonderful to see Michelle on. It's awesome to see everybody jumping on here. So, yes, and I'm thoroughly enjoying Renee and Sarah and Annette and a couple others. Thoroughly enjoying our Dream Interpretation Facebook group that you can only gain access to if you take some of the WIND classes. Okay, let's see. What do we need to do here?
Okay.
Are you still sharing things? Or are you good to go, Pops?
I think I'm good to go.
Okay.
I'm done sharing now. I shared all I can share. Now I'm feeling stingy.
Yeah, very good. Again, welcome. Shout out to Susan Shepard. Welcome, Susan, and Christy Harvey. Awesome to see you. So,
well, let's get started with a question.
Yeah, there was one. Actually, I just want to throw this out real quick. We're going to do Renee's question for sure. That's a good question. But someone posted a dream. Is Premla on? Because we'll probably get to that one. Yes, Premla, I think, would be a new attendee to the Tuesday Night Dreaming. So just if Premla's on, let us know so we can get to your dream. So yes, there we go.
All right. So
and that's got a question right there. So
yes, we'll do that one too.
We'll get to that.
I had a question about paperwork. Renee says, "What does it mean when there's lots of paperwork in your dream, like medical papers and regular office administration?"
Well, what do you think, Pops?
Well, it sounds like a horrible dream.
It sounds like your life, doesn't it?
Papers.
Yeah, lots and lots of papers.
Yeah, I just, you know what the most fun thing, yeah, that's right, about lots of papers in an office is shredding them.
It has nothing to do with Renee's question, but
no, it does not.
Cathartic, yes.
Shredding after, and I have to hold my files for 7 years, you know that.
I do know that.
Seventh year, man. That seventh year, I'm shredding.
Getting rid of them. Yeah, that's right.
Shred.
Yeah.
I even bought a fairly expensive shredder just so I can shred. So
yeah, that's right. But lots of paperwork would be busy work.
yes. Right.
Yeah. Inane busy work. Things that paperwork are the things that distract you from the actual thing. Yeah,
so it's like the office.
Well, medical papers and regular office admin. There's all kind that if it's medical papers, right? That there is healing to be brought, but it seems like I'm stuck doing the meaningless tasks.
Yeah.
And things that are necessary for the functioning of an office, but that seem to distract you from the actual task at hand.
Well, and we would often use the term for something like that, like back office stuff, where the things that are done in the background that support all the other cool things that are happening.
Yeah, that's right.
They're necessary to be done, but nobody really ever wants to do them that bad.
Yeah, and it lets other people.
If you're the person that wants to do them. But,
yeah.
Because there are. I've met those people, and
that's true.
They're amazing.
That's
Somebody
true.
who wants to do that, whoa, I would love them.
Plus, I see Andrew blessings from New Brunswick. That's a new blessing from that Andrew and his wife just moved from Nova Scotia to New Brunswick, so we get the blessings from New Brunswick now. Well, so there we go.
I'm a little hazy on that geography there. So
New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island are all right next to each other. So
that's what I thought. I thought I saw it all in there.
Yeah, that's right.
One little spot in the map. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's right. It's like moving from California to Arizona.
Sarah, there you are. You love paperwork.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So paperwork in a medical office enables the doctor to do the thing the doctor needs to do. And so it depends. Part of it depends on the context. It could be things that it could be busy work that keeps you from doing the thing you're actually supposed to do, or it could be the thing you're doing that enables other people to do what they're called to do. And so it depends a little bit on context. My guess is with Renee and knowing the tenor of dreams that Renee has is it's a little bit of both. But there's things that she wants to move into and do, but she's also someone who has enabled others to do the things that they're called to do.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to this.
Yeah, there was another. What was that other question there?
What does it mean to see people preparing food in dreams? I have a lot of those. So, number one, it would mean you might be a foodie.
Yeah, have you been fasting?
Yeah, that's true. Or you just love food.
Yeah. You might be a foodie, yeah. Well, preparing food. If you're doing it, then you'll have a role to play in nourishing other people. Food would represent the spiritual sustenance, the things of the word, things of prayer, things of devotion, meditating on scripture.
That she's watching, she's seeing them do it, then she's in an atmosphere where those kinds of things are happening. Yeah, exactly. And it could be, if you're observing it, you're to pray for spiritual leaders that are preparing sustenance for those that are around them. It could be, if you're doing it, that's the role that you are stepping into, or like if this is happening around you, then that you're in it, like my dad said, you're in an atmosphere where that kind of stuff, spiritual food's being prepared all around. Yeah. But that's essentially preparing food, is preparing spiritual food, preparing spiritual nourishment. Unless the food is like disgusting, sickly, full of molds, that kind of stuff, then that wouldn't be preparing spiritual nourishment. It'd be passing off something that's supposed to be helpful and nourishing, and passing it off as helpful when in fact it isn't. So context is important. What kind of food is it? It's you're preparing something, but it's like the fattiest food possible. It could be
But again, it depends on the context, as my dad said, because you could be getting candy ready for people, and that could mean unhealthy things, or it could mean the sweet things of heaven. So it really depends on the colors in the dream, the atmosphere in the dream, what the Father's saying through the dream. Well, I mean, the whole thing depends on what the Father's saying through the dream, but you have to look at the broader context as well.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, great question, Nat. So it's definitely a common theme that we see.
Lauren says that she saw 777 written as she awoke. So what would that mean? I mean, obviously your clock can't say 777.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. So seeing it, that's right, Lauren. We're seeing it kind of in something that, as you were kind of coming out of that sleep state, you saw the numbers flash in front of you. I mean, there's a couple different things to think about with numbers like that. Obviously, 7 is a very common number that we see in Scripture. So we want to look at the various different places in Scripture and how is the number 7 used in Scripture. I mean, that's like, to me, 777. You're looking at it's kind of like 70 times 7, Jesus talking about total forgiveness.
Says yes, like it flashed.
Yeah, like it flashed. Yeah. So you've got things like the what Jesus says, like I just said about when his disciples say we've got to forgive 7 times, and he says no, forgive 70 times 7. And so there's something there. The seventh day, of course, in creation was the day that the Father rested. So there's that. The number 7 in the Hebrew means perfection. It means completion. The actual word
for class where that seventh day thing is interesting. That where God
it really is,
when it says he rested, what it really means is he took up his place in his temple that he had just built. So the temple of the earth, and he took his place. So he settled in or rested into the place that he had made for himself and for humanity.
I mean, that's essentially what he says to Ezekiel.
Right.
In Ezekiel 43 is this is going to be where I rest my feet.
Yeah.
And he's pointing to the temple. Yeah. So yeah, I would look at those kind of things, and then you could look at scripture references. Oftentimes that can be very helpful, looking at starting in the prophetic books of the Bible, major and minor prophets. That's Isaiah through Malachi. There you can look at the Gospels. Any reference you can find that's a 777. There's not going to be many of them, if any at all. There's no 77.7 in those books, but there may be a 777. I'd look for that, or a 77, and just see what you come up with and explore that. So I find that oftentimes those number things like that become confirmations of something that God is going to do or is doing. And the numbers themselves, and it could be simple as full rest, that he's bringing you into full rest. So, but I do find that those numbers tend to be, well, especially when they're repeated and people see them all the time.
Renee asks the question, what does it mean when 6 rainbows are stacked on top of each other? And I would say an abundance of promises, favor, that sort of a thing. But you might have something else to say.
No, I agree. Yeah.
An overabundance, really.
Yeah. Rainbows speak of God uses the rainbow to promise that he'll never again flood the earth. The rainbows often represent the promises of God. His promise to be merciful, and his promise to care for us. Yep. Care, and the 6 might be caring for everything having to do with your life, because in the 6th day is the day he created humanity.
And did we find out if Premla was?
I didn't see it. Premla, are you on? Let us know. I didn't see a comment from Premla. So I think she may be overseas, so it might be an issue of timing. But if you're on Premla, let us know. If not, comment later and let us know if you're going to watch later, and we'll do it next week. So it's handy to have. The reason we ask is because sometimes we have questions about the dreams as they're posted, for clarity of what's in the dream or what particular thing is happening in your life that might be pointing to the dream, or the dream might be pointing to. There's different things that we might need context for. So with that said, that's why we ask for, if you're posting the dream and asking for us to interpret it, please be online so that we can ask you questions if need be.
Michelle Lee had a dream of a frog-type creature. It was flesh-colored with sky blue hair and sky blue round hands on its chest, flipping out of water onto a rock.
Yeah, well, that
And
would.
then she said,
Okay. No, go ahead. She said something else.
The face wasn't a frog face. It just flipped feet over the head and out of the water.
So, Michelle, what was the face then? Was the face a human face? Was the face just, you didn't see the face? That's the question. What was the face then? I mean, animals will, especially when you're just seeing the animal like that. This is like Daniel seeing the various different animals, and these animals represent, to Daniel, they represent human kingdoms. The animals themselves represent the various different things that are happening within the sphere of that human kingdom. And we see something like this would represent the spiritual influence upon humans in a particular place. And there is one place in Scripture, like a human face. Yeah, that's what I figured. There's one place in Scripture where we see a frog, and that's Revelation 16, verse 13. And it talks about frogs being unclean spirits.
Yeah.
Because they defy, like a frog, anyway, they defy all the things around them. Then so what you're seeing is the spiritual influence upon the people that you are praying for, and the people he's given you a burden to pray for. The spiritual influence is something that passes itself off as revelatory. This is a sky blue hair, but is in fact influenced by the flesh, the carnal nature, and is impacting the people around. So bringing some defilement to the people around. And the fact that it's flipping out of the water means it's passing itself off as well as pseudo spiritual. It's in the water, but coming out of the water. And its hands are on its chest. So it may be also an issue of pride, like prideful hands on its chest. If I'm reading what that looks like, right? So I think the Lord's showing you a spiritual influence in an area that you would then, and he would show you that again, because you're observing. When we're observing in a dream, oftentimes the reason for the observation is to be given insight into a situation to pray into,
right?
And to pray for, to intercede. And so this would be an intercessory burden to pray that God brings a cleansing to the prophetic atmosphere in the place that you are, and that you'd be, and it's the kind of stuff that you may, if you have the ear of leadership in your particular community, you may want to bring a dream like this to leadership. This is what I saw. This is what the guys on the Tuesday Night Dream Show said. If you want to question their interpretation, they feel free to question ours. You can send us a message. Address the message to Ken.
No,
Hoffert.
send it to Josh Hoffert.
Ken Hoffert. Oh yeah, send it to us. We're happy to address those kind of things.
Man, you beat me to that one.
I did, didn't I?
I was waiting for you to take a breath so I could.
No, you taught me to speak real good. All right.
I did. I taught you good.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's an intercessory dream. This is Susan Shepherd's dream.
Susan Shepard. Okay. I dreamt of a woman watching two young children banging trucks and cars together. That sounds pretty cool. She was crouched down watching them. I walked up and she looked up at me and said, Susan, you have forgotten to close the garage door. And the dream ended.
So, question then for Susan: the woman is watching two young children, and did you know the woman, or was it like condescending, or was she giving you some insight and saying, "Oh, you need to close the garage door"? Like, what was the feel about this woman? That's kind of the question I have about. And when you answer the questions, use longer answers because she was helpful. Okay, so all right, good. There, no, she was helpful. Thanks, Susan. And for those of you that are watching that don't know where Susan is commenting and where we're bringing this from, she's on the Spirit to Spirit Facebook group, and they were in front of the garage door, which was wide open. Okay. So the young children are playing, banging the trucks and cars together, and she's giving you insight into something that needs to be taken care of. Is you need to close the garage door.
So the connection between children playing with cars and trucks and banging them together.
Yes.
And the garage door being left open.
Exactly. Yes. That's. Why are the children banging the trucks together? Because the garage door is open. It has
to do with vehicles. Therefore, vehicles having to do with
probably has to do with friction in the children's ministry.
Yes, probably so.
Why is there friction in the children's ministry? Why are things? Why is there? Because the cars banging together means there's collision. There's things hitting each other. It's not necessarily devastating. But it's friction. Why is this banging together? Why is this stuff not working together? Why is there division? And the response is we've forgotten to close the garage door. And so why is there friction in the younger generation? That kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. I just begun to hold an online Bible study group. Yeah, that could definitely be something having to do with that. And the garage generally would represent a place of repair, or you'd put tools in there, put things in there that you're going to work on, projects, that kind of stuff. A place of repair and restoration. And so there's some repair and restoration that needs to be taken care of. There's some things that need to be closed to deal with this. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Dan.
No, that's good. I think there is just that sense of it. So when children are playing with these, I just find that the imagery fascinating. That children are banging vehicles together as they're playing with them, and they're in their play they're being destructive. They're crashing things that in real life would have major ramifications.
Right.
That there would be this crashing together would be, as you said, conflict.
Yeah, as they grow up, they need to learn not to crash the cars together.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And vehicles would be how we get around. And even as a child, we're playing with the ways that we get around. We're learning how to deal with this, but we're not doing it very productively.
Right.
We're doing it in a way that is destructive, and the answer is not take the cars away from them.
Right.
The answer is you've left the garage door open. You've exposed things that need to be closed up.
Yeah, put the cars back for now.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, put the cars back for now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not ready for that yet.
That's really good. And then if the context is holding an online Bible study group, it's perhaps I let folks run amok for a time, God's children, right? Yeah. Basically.
We've all run these things online. And somebody jumps on and they ask questions that take you into in a direction you were never intending to go.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
right.
want to be nice, and
Yeah,
you want to be helpful, and you want to be
yeah.
supportive. And at the end of it, you say, "Oh, we never got where we were supposed to go."
Right, right. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So,
Yeah, that's right. And the garage door is a boundary, right?
yeah, exactly.
We need to put some of those things away. We can deal with them later, but they're not for right now. Yeah. Susan, it was my first time. Well, the Lord's blessing upon you and
Yes.
grace upon grace upon
May
grace.
much grace and mercy for you.
Yeah, and we just, Susan, we just bless the passion and the passion to engage in the endeavors God's put on your heart.
Yeah.
And so don't let the a dream like this is giving you insight into, again, why was there some banging around, and why didn't it work out exactly how I had hoped it would work out? Oh, here we go. And vehicles can be ministries too, but these are toy vehicles.
Right.
These aren't actual vehicles.
Things that you learn with.
Yeah, they're the things that you learn with. Yeah, exactly. They're the things that you learn with. So it's not something that's devastating. It's just giving you insight into how to navigate some of those things.
All right. So we have a dream from Annette Garrison.
Oh, Annette.
Let me fix this here.
And maybe we can, as you're bringing that one up, Sarah, you posted a dream about hearing being restored, but it seems to me that we interpreted that, or was it a different dream? Do we not get to the dream? When I read the dream, that
we really dealt with it, and we didn't.
And maybe we didn't do a good job, and you're challenging us again. I don't know. It just looked so familiar. I was trying to place it. So give me some context for that. So let's get to Annette's dream.
All right, let's do that. So Annette's dream, she's entitled it Empty Jar. My pastor's wife asked me and some other ladies from my church to help out in the garden. I walked into the greenhouse attached to church, and the ground was very wet, black, muddy soil. I picked up a shovel and tried to bury an empty glass mason jar. As I was burying the jar, a voice said to me, "Stay until I move you." I got very excited because I'd been asking the Lord if I should stay at my current church or not. The Facebook group gave, oh, here we go. So she's already had this interpreted by the Facebook group.
We'll just say ditto then. Sarah says she's posted the dream many times. We've just neglected it.
Well, we've read it, Sarah. We've just let you know.
Yeah, we read it. Yeah, that's right. That's like that constitutes getting to it.
Yeah, we even talked about it.
We
Probably.
got to reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the dream's best is pretty straightforward. That's anytime you hear a voice that sounds like the Lord speaking to you, pay attention.
Stay until I move you.
Stay until I move you. And he'll give you things to do that will or the things you're doing seem empty. Because you're burying an empty glass mason jar. Yeah. And so you're burying something that's going to produce no measurable effect. You know, you would bury a seed and it would grow, but you bury an empty glass mason jar and nothing happens. And so you're in a place where what you're doing feels ineffective, but God's saying, I haven't moved you yet.
Yeah. But you're in the garden, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, you're in a place of growth. It's not that it's that what you're doing specifically to bring growth doesn't seem like it's producing an effect. Yeah, and Christy, that would just be the leadership. What does the pastor's wife mean? Just the leadership. Leadership is asking you to church. Some of the things the leadership's asking you to do seems to have no measurable effect. We'll put it that way. But God hasn't released you yet, or it doesn't even say if He will release you. It just said, "Don't go unless I call you to go."
Yeah, which is not always the case. I mean, there are times when you can go ahead and go. But when you hear something like that, it's probably important to pay attention to it.
Yeah, that's right. My basic litmus test is if you're going to leave and you haven't heard the Lord clearly, don't leave until he opens another avenue for you to go to. And if another door opens where it seems clearly that this is an opportunity that God's opening up, then walk through the door. And and the black muddy soil that's just the ineffectiveness of what it feels like you're doing. So, I mean, soil can be black and muddy. That's not necessarily it's healthy soil is usually black and muddy, at least black.
Yeah.
Maybe oversaturated, so things don't grow very well.
All right, so let's do Sarah's dream, and then we'll.
All right, fine, Sarah.
You last real quick and see if Joy, if you're still on. We'll get to your dream after this one.
This is the parable of the persistent person. Sarah is fulfilling that.
All right, and apparently she's had this since May 14th, 2021. Okay, so maybe she's been posting it since then, and we just haven't paid attention to it.
Yeah, Christy says Glass House is a place of expedited growth. Yeah, because it's a greenhouse. Yeah. It's a place where things should grow. But what Annette's doing specifically in the dream is not. She's not. Now I'm embarrassed. Good.
Yeah.
But in terms of Annette's dream, moving back to that, what she's doing is not something that would normally create growth. She's been asked to bury things that don't grow. Yeah, we only kid because we love.
Okay, so Sarah, let's talk about hearing restored. This is what she's named her dream. I was at what's an ENT doctor? I don't know. Ears, nose, and throat. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
There we go. Good job, Dad.
Ears, nose, and throat doctor's office for many years. Let me start over. I was at my ears, nose, and throat doctor's office for my ears. All of a sudden, I could hear noises that others couldn't. So they quickly did a hearing test. It was pleasant, the sounds. High pitch. Wait, so it was pleasant, the sounds?
Yeah, well, what part was
irritating noise?
Those sentences don't jive.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you clarify what sounds were pleasant
or was it not pleasant?
Yeah.
And then the doctor came in and told me your hearing has been restored, but better than normal.
Oh, she says it wasn't pleasant.
Okay. Something about being able to hear 7 decibels. I fell to the ground and just sobbed. I sobbed with joy and worship. I remember thinking in my dream state, God, are you going to heal my hearing? And this voice, knowing came over me. This dream is not about your physical hearing being restored. Then it went black and I woke up.
Yeah, it's not about your physical hearing being restored because it's about spiritual hearing being amplified or perfected. That's the number 7 again.
Yeah.
Being perfected. A minus 7 decibels is the minus isn't. That's a.
It means you can hear at levels.
You can hear a better. You can hear a higher level. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anyway, a high decibel.
It's inaudible to others is you're going to be able to hear.
No, it's the other way around. The lower the minus is, the more you would not be able to hear.
That's what I mean. It's inaudible.
The minus 7 is not inaudible.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, I do too much video and audio editing. Minus 7 is a good ability to hear. That would be good hearing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think as I've gone through audio editing and everything, it's anyway, if you're going to record an audio book, that's where I know all the settings from some of the stuff that I've done. So,
all right.
So anyway, the number itself is also the number itself is a metaphor. Yeah, because 7 is the number of perfection and completion. So Renee has a good point that the ENT doctor is an ear, nose, and throat, which would be what you hear what you sense, and what you speak.
Yeah.
And so the ENT doctor is claiming that your spiritual hearing is being healed and amplified.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that what clues you into the perfection of hearing is picking up on irritating things.
Yeah.
Not so much hearing the beauty of God and the beautiful things he would say, but picking up on things that grate. The clue that your hearing is being healed is there are things I'm hearing that bother me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is what the Lord speaks to us bothers us, because our flesh does react against those things. God's calling us to a place of healing, to a place of humility, to deal with trauma, things that we're not comfortable with. And then sometimes it's the environment around me. There's things people say that I'm beginning to pick up on that I didn't realize was being said, but now that I know it's being said, I'm not okay with it. And there's a spiritual environment that you are detecting. So the interesting part about it is the indicator that you're healed is not being irritated, but the things you hear irritating you.
Yeah, and one of the things we do when we're hearing is we become accustomed to certain noises, to certain sounds in our hearing.
That's right.
And so much so that sometimes we even almost stop hearing them. But anything that's introduced that is different from what we normally hear causes us to captures our attention, and it might not feel good initially.
Yeah.
To hear things that we're unaccustomed to hearing.
Yeah. And I'll say this: you can apply it in any way that it fits, Sarah, or whatever the Lord highlights to you. Is sometimes hearing that irritates is finally hearing the thoughts of our own heart and recognizing what's going on the inside and not liking what you see that's going on the inside. And God's highlighting that. I don't know that that's necessarily the case here, but that's one thing. That's one kind of irritating hearing. Is I'm picking up on my own broken inner thought life, but there's also I walk into my community and I'm immediately irritated and I don't know why, and I immediately am going, I don't know what's going on. As soon as I walked into this room, I'm in such a bad mood. Oftentimes that's an indicator that our spiritual senses are picking up on something. And so the irritation is the clue that I've just heard something. I just didn't realize I need to now tune into it. And so it's not so much going, I'm irritated. It's going, God, what is it that you're showing me that I need to pray into, or what are you revealing to me? So that when I say that the clue that you're hearing is an irritation, I think there's a significant thing there.
Yeah. Well, we are going to, Joy, I said we were going to do your dream next, but I'm going to put you off one dream. Don't yell at me.
And it could be both, Sarah. But with all that said, Sarah, don't beat yourself up, because when we start to see what's going on in our own hearts, it's not to see the depravity that's in our hearts. That's obvious. I mean, Scripture tells us that through and through. I don't need to see that to know that, because Scripture tells me about it. But when I come face to face with it, it's the mercy of God to begin showing me the way that I think that's not in accord with how He thinks about me. And so I can begin to submit those thoughts to Him. And so I don't want to think this way anymore. What are your thoughts? How do you think when you think about me, Father?
It's good.
Joy said 30 decibels is a whisper. Yeah, minus 30 is a whisper. It's just the way that it's written out. 7 is not lower than 30. 7 is higher than 30. It's the way decibel register is weird.
Yeah. All right. So,
this is Renee's dream.
Yes, let's get back up there to the top. Okay, Renee, I have a dream. It's a short one. She's called it the medical clinic. I walked into a medical clinic. I had just been hired on, not as a nurse, but as a tech or something. Dr. Rudy came to greet me, and we exchanged greetings in Afrikaans, his native language. He then introduced me to one of his nurses, and I was going to be training under her. We went into one of the two patient care rooms. There was a patient lying on the bed, and the nurse began to teach me how to use the machinery she was hooked up to. I felt like I belonged, and even though it was a job, it was also my home. Dr. Rudy kept an eye on me from the other room while I was learning. Then I woke up. So she says, in context, Dr. Rudy is a South African-born doctor, and she's also South African-born, who works in her area. He's also part of the healing and deliverance team at Frontline Church, and she's received training from him in recent weeks. This dream comes after being invited to join a being and deliverance team as a member, since training is now done. There's always training. Okay. So
yeah, you just interpreted the dream.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean, Renee is that's pretty straightforward. As a side note to that, before we get to it, Elizabeth Kozlowski said, how do you send in a dream? Just comment in the Facebook on a Facebook post. Now, with that said, the dream, generally you'll notice that we do shorter dreams, and the longer dreams can take too long, and so we ask for shorter dreams that can be summed up in 3 to 5 sentences. And by summing up, I don't mean removing details. I mean being able to write the dream effectively in 3 to 5 sentences. So if you want to submit a dream, feel free to comment it in the comments, but if it's too long, we won't be able to get to it. Yeah. I mean, the meaning of the dream is that you're being trained and someone's watching over you.
Yeah.
And you're being trained to use the equipment to care for the people. Like that's the dream.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so you just interpreted it by saying, in reality, I've just been going through training on inner healing and deliverance, and that's the dream. You're being trained on how to bring healing to people.
Well, and I think the other part of it is, and this may be the part that that she wonders about and why she's having the dream, is he greets her in Afrikaans.
Right.
She's also, and she's born in South Africa as well.
Yeah.
So she's I'm assuming that Afrikaans is something that you're familiar with and that would be natural to you, more maybe almost native, and so in so doing, it's in her own language.
Yeah, well, it's part of who she is.
Right, exactly.
It's her history, it's her background, it's her your nationality is her identity.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he greets you in Afrikaans says you are right at home doing these things.
It's part of exactly. It's part of your heritage.
Yeah, this is part of this is part of your heritage to step into this. And it's a good. Renee, you just keep interpreting these strings. My dad is fluent. I've forgotten most of it. Yeah, you may not feel perfectly equipped to do the thing that God's calling you to do, but Dr. Rudy is letting you know it's part of who you are. It's born into you.
Yeah.
Valerie Garcia, do you guys do side work? Not for people like Valerie. So I told you in a Facebook message, Valerie, that I have yet to forgive you. And it's been, you're 40 also. I think you turned 40 just a little bit. No, are you 41? No, you're 40. We're the same age.
You don't say
And
that to a woman. Don't you understand that?
yeah, oh, wait, I shouldn't say that out
Never,
loud. Sorry, Valerie.
she's never over 39 at the most.
Yeah, and then and Valerie just competed in some like crazy competition too, so she'd probably beat me up too.
Yeah.
But Valerie, I don't know if I'll ever forgive you for things that you did when I was 15 or 16. And it will not be mentioned what you did. 41. Yeah, I can remember if you were a year older or not. That's right. I know your birthday is just a little bit before mine. I remember that.
Wiser than you, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want the bean spill? Valerie's known me since what? I was 10.
At least.
Yeah. We grew up together.
All right.
Yeah. Finally, I got an apology. Yeah. Send Anthony's dream. Just send it on Facebook Messenger to me. And again, Anthony is her son that I've known since he was just a baby. So
now he's tall.
Yeah, Valerie and I grew up together. So
all right. So this is a Joy Rodriguez dream. So I just am warning you now. Joy's here. So
please don't post any long dreams unless your name is Joy Rodriguez.
Well, okay, so
I'm just giving Joy a hard time.
At least
because Joy's known me as long as Valerie has.
So Joy breaks this out. So I'm actually want to use this a little bit because if you'll notice, she breaks this out. She's done it up. So just so you guys know, Joy has done dreams on the street with us and that kind of thing. So Joy can interpret dreams all on her own. So she's done a good job of putting this together for us. And we'll kind of go through it real quickly, and we're going to hit the high points and Joy, we're not going to spend forever on it. We're just going to hit the high points.
Okay.
So Joy was in a classroom.
We have a hard stop at 7 p.m. your time, right? You've got
we do
a prior engagement. So yeah.
She says, Joy was in a classroom setting where I observed a woman that she knows pushed down on a classroom table. The legs collapsed and became child height. Oh, sorry. I went through a doorway out of the classroom. I proceeded to put a door that was off its hinges in front of me as to block me from the sight. Put a door back on its hinges, I'm guessing. Since I was to go to the bathroom, she had a sense she was going to the cleansing, but the room was not a bathroom. However, there was a sense I wanted privacy. The door and the wall behind me were plastered with all kinds of stickers and decals, pictures, not words.
For the Canadians, by the way, Canadians don't say that word decal. They say that word decal.
Decal. Okay. So
it's one of the weird Canadian things that they just...
It's full of decals or decals, depending on what country you live in.
That's
right. A tall, thin man, a professor of the classroom, became very angry and accused me of placing these stickers all over. I arguably engaged him, stating, "It's not me," then asked him who did this. Okay, then she has a scene shift. So let's deal with the first scene first, real quick.
Okay, so she's
in a classroom.
Right.
Somebody pushes a table, a classroom table, and it collapses down to child height. So that kind of gives us a sense that things are being reduced down in this dream.
Okay, then she went through a doorway out of the classroom. The door was off its hinges. She put it back on. She was going to go to the bathroom. Then what happened? It's so the words are so little I can barely see it on my screen.
Really?
Yeah, the room was. Yeah, you've got the whole thing on your. I've got a little window on mine that's this big, and it's even reduced even more.
Well, I can see it just fine. It's on one of my big monitors.
It's not. Yeah, it's Sarah Kokura. No, I still can't help it. It's Canadian bacon. It's my American coming out.
It's what we used to. That was the cool thing to get on your pizza years ago.
Yeah, Canadian bacon and pineapple. Yeah, they just call it ham and pineapple here.
Okay, so she put the door back on its hinges, so something was off its hinges. The passageway is all messed up. Sense of getting to places is not going to the place where she thinks it. The wall is plastered with decals and stickers that are just images, and somebody's not happy about these images. There's just things out of sorts in this dream in the first scene. Things are not shaping up quite right in the first scene. Okay, second scene. You ready for the second scene?
Yeah, go for it.
I then observed a white male, 30s maybe, and what I sensed was his wife, a beautiful black woman, maybe Ethiopian, and with perfect, shiny, clear complexion. Starting to enter the classroom when Joshua H. Can we clarify the H? Does that mean you, Joshua?
I'm assuming so.
Encouraged them to follow him. They did so, and the scene went like this. From outside the entrance of the classroom, the couple walked down a cement drive, Joshua not engaging with them, but with a determined look on his face, single focus, just walked to a vast, wide open, dry, cut down wheat field. He began walking across it diagonally with a sense he wanted to get to his family. The distance between persons following became separated. First, Joshua was almost at the end corner from the starting point, at the end of the chain link fence. The white young male was halfway through the field. The woman was at the beginning corner of the field and became frightened. She was straining to see Joshua and was sad that her male counterpart had left her behind. She was frightened as she walked. The dry field hurt her feet as the dry particles got behind her sandals and feet. I, Joy, appeared beside her and told her to take off her sandals as the field will be softer. She did so. Suddenly, we were all at the opposite diagonal where I observed Joshua connecting with his family car. The couple seemed to approach a van with writing all over it, more like business logos, and they woke up. So
you go for it.
Well, so I'm assuming it's you, Joshua Hoffert. And
yeah, she said it was me.
And the man, what seemed to be her husband, are only secondary to this scene. They're both in a hurry to get to a place. So the first scene we have is things aren't quite what they're supposed to be. The second one is, and she's in this, Joy is not just observing, but she's involved in this first scene.
Right.
Second scene, she's more observing until the very end of it. And you and whoever you represent, and her prophetic teacher, exactly, and her husband, who then would be
people learning to operate in prophecy,
are moving at a faster pace than this person can, and she finds herself having difficulty even trying to catch up, even trying to get through the field. It's becoming painful, and Joy in this then comes beside her, tells her what she can do, helps her there, and in her assistance, they find themselves at the very end in having given assistance. So, Joy, the dream's about you. The things that feel like they are not coming together are actually make a lot more sense than you think they do. So it really just comes down to this. The more you love and walk with people, the more healing takes place, the more things work out. Just really
and where you'll find yourself helping people that feel like they've been left behind, or don't understand or can't grasp the things that are being taught and the direction of prophetic ministry in this season. You'll help them catch up much quicker than they thought they could.
Yeah.
So simple instructions.
Things that are in your heart to do. That's
that's right. Yeah.
And even though you're uncomfortable, even though you're unsure of it, it really is who you are.
Yeah.
Because the end of the dream, you just do who you are.
She sees the place. She sees the way, the places prophetic ministry is going.
Yeah.
Which is, a family. That's where, I'm in the dream representing prophetic ministry, prophetic teaching, it's going to the place of family.
Yeah.
So she sees where it's going. She knows how to get there. And her role is to come alongside other people that feel like they've been left behind and don't know how to get there.
Yep.
And and to point the way.
Yeah, right.
This is where we're going, and this is how we get there.
Yeah. So that's a long dream, you guys. And we want you to know there is a lot more to it. But when we deal with longer dreams, we can break them down short. But that means that you then are responsible for digging out the nuances of meaning on your own. But it's a good dream, and if we can get to the gist of it, that usually will help someone break down the rest of it. So hopefully that helps. And do we have time for one more? We got
we probably do. We never saw Premla on.
No, we did not see Premla on. Oh, we had one other quick dream in here. We could pull back here a second.
Are we looking at this one?
Yeah. You got it. So I had a dream of standing in a hallway.
I think this is Susan again.
It is Susan. Had a dream of standing in a hallway that had doors to rooms. A light appeared high up on the ceiling of the hallway. And as it grew brighter, I felt like I was being projected towards it. And also that it was coming towards me. So both things happening at the same time. It hit my forehead and my tummy did a flip-flop and the dream ended.
Well, we'll probably have time for another one after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in a hallway, you're in a transition. A hallway is a transition from one place in the house to another. So you're in a transition, and you're being led by light, right? You're moving towards the light. And there's been some your forehead and stomach. So the way you think and what you feel has made the transition a little more difficult. So I hit my forehead. So I've been confronted with some of the ways I think, and my tummy. So I've been seeing some of the ways I feel, and it's causing me to, it's disorienting me on the in the midst of this transition. Is it a flip flop?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going somewhere, but God's addressing my thinking and my feeling.
Yep. It's good.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's good. And it's good because it shows us that there's ways that we feel and ways that we think that need to be addressed. It's the whole process of redemption.
So we're just gonna address the images in this dream, and then we'll because it's not the full dream, but there's a couple of quick images that are interesting. So Victoria Lee says she was in a dream. She was in a building that has all the windows in office rooms blurred with obscure window coverings with a specific pattern. She was wondering why everything is covered, and I also saw some scandalous pictures. So the ability to see out or in has been, I love the term obfuscated, but not everybody loves that one.
I like it. It's good.
It's been blurred. So it's a pattern of blurring.
Yeah.
Something that's a consistent pattern. So when there's a consistent pattern, that means there's a way we're seeing things that is not helping us see all the way through.
Yeah.
And if there's some scandalous pictures also in there, in other words, there's things that are not helpful.
Yeah.
They could give you some clues as to why there's a blurring on the window.
Right. Yeah. There's some things. There's some things that are in the environment that I'm involved with.
Yeah.
That are making it difficult to see clearly.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are interesting images in that dream, Victoria.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to call it an evening, Josh. You got anything coming up that you need to talk about?
Well, we have.
You were online today.
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody that's watching, go check out the Remnant Radio, because we've got a 12-week series that I'm part of with another couple of guys that are awesome guys. Thoroughly recommend checking out the Remnant Radio video, the YouTube show. Just look up the Remnant Radio on YouTube or on your podcasting platform, whatever that is, Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever, Spotify, all that stuff. And so I'm excited about that, and just stay tuned. We've got some major announcements coming probably in the next month or two, in regards to all the wind courses and the way that we're doing things. So we've got some big stuff coming down the pipe. Annette Garrison, another dream class, advanced squared. The advanced class. Yeah, we'll see. But we do have some big announcements coming. And yeah, so sign up for the wind newsletter so that you get an idea of all the stuff that we're doing. And hopefully I'll be able to see all of you guys sometime in the next couple months, because it's looking like I'll be in New Brunswick in a couple of weeks, be out in British Columbia in October, be down in Nova Scotia and beginning of October, and possibly Alberta. We'll see if that happens. So anyway, yeah. So I would be wonderful to see everybody. If I can see you in person, great. If not, it'll be here. You are coming to Saskatchewan. Yes. I would love to, Sarah. Let's chat.
Ethel said that her daughter has a dream, and just post it. Ethel.
Yeah, post it, Ethel. We'll get to it. Yeah.
Even if you post it after we're done, we'll get to it. We go back through them. That's good. So you got good
Patty,
stuff coming up.
Our tornado warning is passed. It could have added a new meaning to wind ministry tonight. That's right. Yeah.
Well, blessings to you all. And we just want to say thank you for joining us this evening. May the Lord bless you, watch over you. May your dream nights, may your dream seasons at night increase. May you have clarity and insight, and just may the Lord visit you in the night seasons in ways that you've never experienced before, and that are transformative to the very core of your being. So we bless you with an increase of His presence and His favor.
Yeah, that's right.
Amen.
Amen. And we will see you. Yeah, we'll see you next week.